Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Cold Case Christmas. In this episode we're sticking with UK cases. So episode 1 and 2 were both UK cases. We will be looking at cold cases from other countries in this series as well. But in this episode I want to look at the unsolved disappearance of Marion Hodge, who disappeared in 1984. From her hometown of Lockerbie in Scotland. Her case was reopened in 2006 and relabelled a homicide. So what happened to Marion? Let's get into her story. Let's start with the words of one of Marion's 4 siblings, Frances, who reflects on her sister as to what she was like as a girl. Frances says Marion did well in school, liked sports and singing. She was voted Gala Queen at Lockerbie when she was 15. She could have gone on to further education but got engaged at 18 and then married and became a mother at 19. She took to motherhood. She ran a house and she was devoted to her children. She started working in the local Clydesdale bank, had a break. Then after her children went to school, she went back to the bank. When we were told that she'd gone away, we believed this was uncharacteristic of Marion. She wouldn't have left in that manner. She would never have turned her back on her children. The day Marion disappeared was her son's 15th birthday. She thought too much of her children and would never have run out on them like that. I would appeal to anyone who has any information from that time or has since remembered anything, please contact the police. And indeed, anyone with information about Marion's case after you've heard this story, please do contact the dedicated inquiry team on 0141 305 4551 or Police Scotland on 101. So what happened? Well, at around 7:30am on Friday 6th of July 1984, Marion's husband Bill drove her from her home in Lockerbie and dropped her off in the White Sands area. She was never seen again. Never seen again. Bill told police that the night before her disappearance, he had accused her of having an affair with a close friend who was a wealthy businessman who lived in Lockerbie. Bill had confronted the man, who point blank denied the accusation. But, according to Bill, he claims that Marion said she was leaving him, and the next morning she asked him to drive her to the bus station at White Sands, which was a 25-minute drive. Bill told detectives that he had dropped Marion off at around 8am with a suitcase, as she wanted. But no one, this was a busy bus station, no one, including taxi drivers and members of the public, remember seeing her. He said she'd taken £1,000 worth of cash with her, which was a lot of money in 1984. It's a lot of money now, but it was an even more money in 1984. But strangely, an hour after Bill had reportedly dropped her off at White Sands, a further £100 was withdrawn from her Cashline account, and then no further activity, no further activity to this day. Bobby, who is Marion's brother, doesn't believe Bill's story. You see, the first thing that Bobby picked up on was that her bank PIN number had been incorrectly inputted twice, and in the UK you only get 3 attempts to input your PIN number before it locks you out. Right, so it had been wrongly inputted twice, like someone was not quite remembering the PIN number. Bobby says, I knew it was the killer trying to convince everyone Marion had left of her own free will. She worked in the bank. She would never have made 3 attempts to enter her PIN. I have no doubt my sister was murdered on the day she disappeared. The thing is, she disappeared on her son's 15th birthday. Like Frances, Bobby could not believe this. He said she was a very straightforward person. Marion would have got in touch with us. She would have explained the situation and there would have been no mystery. But initially, police treated Marion as a missing person. But it didn't sit right. It didn't sit right with them, but they didn't have any evidence of anything else. Now, 4 days after she was last seen, dropped off by Bill, a man with a local Lockerbie accent called the home of one of Marion's bank colleagues and said that Marion was okay, but she would not be returning to work. That caller, strangely, was never traced. Now, this was back in 1984, remember. There was an extensive search of the local quarries, the woods, appeals. The British TV show Crime Watch featured her, so she got some national attention, but no leads. Sadly, Marion's parents, Robert and Agnes Gibson, went to their graves never seeing their daughter ever again, never knowing what had happened to her, but firmly believing, like the rest of their family, that she'd been murdered. But there was no trace, no body, no evidence, no leads. This case just went cold. There was nothing police could do. Marion was officially declared dead in 1992 after an application by her husband Bill because he wanted to remarry. This was initially thwarted by Marion's parents. They said, look, if she's dead, he, Bill, is the killer. But under legal statute, the Presumption of Death, Scotland Act 1977, a judge can officially declare someone dead once he or she has been missing for 7 years. So Bill was granted his wish and Marion was officially declared dead. Fast forward to March 2006 and police reopened the case and they took Bill in for questioning. Her case was now reclassified as a murder inquiry. A police spokesman said the circumstances relating to the detention and evidence accrued during the recent reinvestigation of Marion's disappearance are being reported to the Procurator Fiscal in Dumfries for consideration of prosecution. Bill, however, refused to comment. They just couldn't crack this case. Bill was released without charge. And sadly, since then, there has been little or no information on the case. Bill, as I said, got remarried. Him and his second wife divorced. Bill moved to England and he now lives there with his daughter. And Marion's children, Robert and Catherine, remain close to their father. They don't believe that he murdered their mother. But back in 1984, it was the days before CCTV on every street corner, on every store, on bus stations, on rail stations, on public transport, before mobile phones and phone pings. Things would be very different now, but Marion's just gone. And it may just be one of those cases that never get resolved. But the police are trying. They've had another go. In early 2022, they re-sparked the investigation. They got a new team in. There was some media about the case, but still nothing. Her family deserve answers. Her siblings are sure that Bill murdered Marion, that she wouldn't have just run away. So again, that phone number, if anybody knows anything at all that could assist detectives from the Unresolved Homicide Investigation Team, please do call 0141 305 4551 or call Police Scotland on 101. What do you think about this case? Do you think Bill did it? Or do you think Marion ran away of her own accord? Or something else? Let me know in the comments. I've been Michelle, hope you're well, and I'll see you very soon in the next episode of Cold Case Christmas. Bye guys.